The Mysterious House at the End of the Alley, a true story. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I will tell you a true horror story that a friend shared with me. A story about a strange house at the end of a small alley, where mysterious events happened that no one dared to mention. The story begins when Min, a young man who just moved to the city, rented a cheap house at the end of a small alley. Although the house was quite old, the rent was very reasonable. When Min came to sign the contract, the landlord, an old lady, only said one sentence before leaving. "At night, don't open the door for anyone." Min didn't pay much attention, thinking it was just a meaningless warning. He packed his things and started his new life, not knowing that everything was just beginning. A knock at midnight. The first night, Min fell asleep quite quickly because he was too tired all day. But when the clock struck exactly 2 a.m., a soft knock sounded on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Min opened his eyes, his heart pounding. He looked at the clock, surprised that someone had come at this hour. Thinking that maybe someone had knocked on the wrong house, Min quietly lay down to continue sleeping. But then, the knock sounded again, this time louder, more urgent. Knock. 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 A creepy feeling began to take over. Min remembered the warning from the landlady. He decided to stay quiet, trying to listen. Outside, there was a soft whisper. "Open the door for me. I'm so cold." The voice sounded like a woman's. Min shivered. He tiptoed closer to the door, looked through the peephole, but there was no one. Not believing his eyes, Min looked again. But there was still nothing but the pitch-black darkness of the alley. Min trembled and stepped back, deciding not to open the door. Finally, the knocking stopped. He tried to calm down and went back to bed. But as Min lay down, the window of his room suddenly shook violently, as if someone outside was trying to knock it hard. Min jumped up, his heart pounding. But when he looked outside, everything was completely quiet. There was no more sound. The shadow behind the curtain. In the following days, Min began to notice many strange things. Sometimes, he heard footsteps on the ceiling at night, even though this house only had one floor. The furniture seemed to have been moved, even though he clearly remembered leaving it where it was. But the scariest thing happened on Thursday night. That day, Min decided to stay up late to work. When he looked up at the clock, he was startled to realize that it was already 2 a.m. At that moment, a cold wind blew through, even though the windows and the main door were tightly closed. He unconsciously looked towards the curtain. And then, Min's heart seemed to stop beating. Behind the curtain, there was a figure standing still. A blurry, motionless figure. Min screamed, rushing to turn on the light. But when the light was turned on, the curtain gently swayed, there was no one there. That whole night, Min did not dare to sleep. The next morning, he decided to ask the neighbors about this house. But no one would say anything. Only an old man living nearby, after a moment of hesitation, told a horrifying story. The horrible truth. According to the old man, this house used to belong to a small family. The couple and their little daughter lived here. But one night, the wife suddenly went crazy, took a knife and killed her husband and daughter, then committed suicide in the living room. From then on, no one dared to stay in this house for long. The tenants before Min also left within a few weeks because they were disturbed by strange phenomena. Min felt a chill down his spine after hearing this. He decided to pack up and leave the house immediately. But before leaving, he discovered something that haunted him forever. Under the carpet in the living room, there was an old stain. When Min turned it over, he was stunned. It was a dried blood stain that had soaked into the floor, probably from that fateful night years ago. Min left and never returned to that house again. But he always remembered the terrifying nights he had experienced. And the scariest thing was, on the last night there, as he stepped out of the door, Min heard the last knock on the door. Knock, Knock, knock. If you like this story, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next scary stories. See you in the next video.